Celtic fans, it's match day in Europe, and there's a feeling in the air that something big is brewing at Celtic Park. Tonight, under the Glasgow lights, the boys face Braga in what could be a defining night in their Europa League campaign. And for once, the noise around the club is expected to be in full flow right from the first whistle. Not just from the stands, but symbolically as well, because after weeks of unrest, silent protests, and fan discontent, there's been a shift. And it all started with a late-night announcement that sent ripples through the fan base. Just hours before this anticipated clash, Celtic supporters groups revealed that the planned 29-minute silent protest would be postponed. And that wasn't a decision taken lightly. The announcement followed a statement confirming that Celtic FC had formally invited various supporter organizations to a meeting to be held on Monday the 6th of October. Among the names attending are key club figures like Michael Nicholson and Chris May, and from the fans' side, groups such as the Green Brigade, Celtic Trust, and other CSE organizations from Ireland and Scotland. It's a development that many would argue was only made possible because of the sheer persistence and unity of the fan collective. And now, with dialogue on the table, there's renewed hope that genuine change could be on the horizon. It's no secret that tensions between the board and the fans have been simmering for a while. The silent protest was a response to growing dissatisfaction about the direction of the club and a perceived disconnect from the fan base. And while there's still a long road ahead, and no guarantees that Monday's meeting will deliver immediate change, the very fact that it's happening is already being viewed as a small victory for the supporters. But even more than that, it's a massive boost for the team on the pitch tonight. Because now, with the protest on pause, Celtic Park is set to be a wall of noise again. The players won't have to wait half an hour for the crowd to come alive. It'll be electric from minute one. Brendan Rodgers, when asked about the situation in his press conference, spoke like a man who understands the value of unity at a club like Celtic. He said he hopes both parties can sit down, respect their differences, and find a solution that gets everyone pulling in the same direction. Because that's what this club needs. That's what this team needs. And that's exactly what tonight's atmosphere might deliver. For a Europa League group stage match, it already feels like more than just 3 points are at stake. Looking at the football side of things, Rodgers seems cautiously optimistic. The draw in Belgrade last week was a solid result, but it only becomes a good one if Celtic can back it up with a win at home. And even though it's not the glamour of the Champions League, Rodgers has made it clear that this competition still matters. He's spoken about wanting the players to embrace these European nights and treat them like the proper tests they are. The quality of opposition is higher than what Celtic face most weeks domestically, and the margins are tighter. The manager even made a cheeky remark about how not every opponent in Scotland turns up trying to win, unlike Braga tonight. One name that's drawn attention lately is Paulo Bernardo. The Portuguese midfielder hasn't featured heavily this season, but Rodgers made it clear that he sees a role for him going forward. He mentioned Bernardo's struggles with injuries last season and suggested that now, fully fit, he could start seeing more minutes. It's the kind of player the team might need right now, someone who can offer something a bit different in midfield, where performances have been a bit stale. With injuries and rotation playing a role, tonight could be a night where Bernardo gets a chance to show what he can bring to the side. Speaking of injuries, there's finally some good news on that front. Austin Trusty and Rio Hatate are both back in training, and while Hatate's availability for tonight is still uncertain, the midfield options are starting to look a bit more promising. Alistair Johnston, too, is expected to return to training in time for the Dundee match after the international break. With Kobe Donovan doing well at right back, there's no rush, but just having Johnston back in the mix will be a massive boost for the squad depth. Now let's talk lineups. Predicting what Rodgers will do is never straightforward, but a few positions feel locked in. Kasper Schmeichel should start in goal. The back four looks likely to mirror what we saw in Belgrade. Kobe Donovan on the right, Kieran Tierney on the left, and the pairing of Cameron Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales in the center. The defense has been relatively solid, and there's no reason to mess with it, even if there's always that lingering fear that praising them pre-match might come back to bite us. The midfield is where things get tricky. If Hatate is fit, he likely joins McGregor and Negrin. But if not, the question becomes whether it's McCaughan or Engels who steps in. Engels might be the safer bet, but that midfield trio needs to offer more than what we've seen in recent weeks. It's been too flat, too predictable. And that's why there's a growing call among fans to see someone like Bernardo given more responsibility. Up front, there's more cause for optimism. Sebastian Tinky on the left, Dyson Maeda on the right, and Kelechi Iheanacho leading the line. That's a front three with pace, work rate, and, in Iheanacho's case, a touch of class. He's shown flashes of it already in Europe, and if he can find the net again tonight, it could be a game changer. With Tinky and Maeda stretching defenses, there should be space for Iheanacho to operate, and it's in those moments that he can really make the difference. If he hits form, Celtic might finally have that reliable European-level striker they've been searching for. As for Kobe Donovan, it's a special night for him. If he starts, it'll be his first ever at Celtic Park, with all his previous starts coming away from home. He's quickly becoming a fan favorite with his fearless style, and Rodgers even joked that Kobe is frightened about nothing. That kind of mentality will be crucial tonight. Celtic need players who aren't overawed by the occasion, who see a European night not as pressure, but as an opportunity. Now, looking at the opponents, Brager come into the game missing a few key players. Gabriel Mascardo, who's on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, is out due to fatigue. Ho Oliveira and Mario Doilis are also unavailable. That said, this is still a very good team with European pedigree. Rodgers expects them to set up in a 3-4-3, though there's some debate whether it's more of a 3-5-2 in reality. Regardless, they'll look to control the midfield and break quickly down the wings. Their fullbacks, Gomez and Lilo, are key to how they play. They bomb forward when Brager are in possession and drop into a flat back five when defending. That gives Celtic an opening. Isolate the center backs, move the ball quickly, and exploit those spaces left behind. But if the play is slow and labored, Brager will get numbers back and be tough to break down. That's why Celtic's tempo from the first whistle will be so important. A few names to keep an eye on. João Moutinho may be 39 years old, but he still controls games with his intelligence. El Yazani up front is a physical threat. And Ricardo Horta, their captain, is the creative heartbeat of the team. He's been with the club for almost 10 years, and though he's past 30 now, he's still capable of moments of brilliance. Off the pitch, ticket sales are another sign that fans are buying into this European campaign. Despite early worries about turnout due to the kickoff time and recent unrest, the stadium is expected to be close to full. Official numbers might not reach capacity, but estimates suggest up to 45,000 could be in attendance. And that's a serious show of support given everything going on. It's a reminder that, even when the Champions League dream fades, the Europa League can still offer nights that matter. Celtic fans have always known how to get behind their team when it counts, and tonight feels like one of those occasions. And just before we wrap this first part up, a quick word on two younger players. Samuel Guzzo, captain of the B team, has signed a new deal until the summer of 2028, a clear sign the club sees a future for him. Meanwhile, Sean McArdle has gone out on loan to Partick Thistle. There was real excitement around him when he first broke into the senior squad, and this move should give him the regular minutes he needs to continue developing. And while the focus tonight is firmly on the 90 minutes ahead, there's a deeper undercurrent of momentum beginning to form around Celtic, not just in terms of performance, but in the overall feeling within the club and the support. You can sense that fans are starting to slowly believe again. That maybe, just maybe, this group has the tools to deliver something in Europe. Not the polished dominance of past sides, but the grit and flashes of quality that, with a bit of luck, can take you on a journey. The Europa League has been that kind of platform before. It doesn't carry the bright lights of the Champions League, but for clubs like Celtic, it often ends up being a far more realistic stage to shine on. There's been a lot of talk this week, both from within the squad and among supporters, about the club's famous run to Seville back in 2003. Brendan Rodgers has apparently brought it up with the players since the early Champions League exit, reminding them that Celtic's greatest modern European campaign didn't even happen in UEFA's top competition. That run in the UEFA Cup started with disappointment and ended with glory, not with a trophy, but with nights that fans still talk about to this day. And that's something Rodgers is trying to tap into again. Because when the expectations are lowered slightly, when the pressure of the Champions League group stage is replaced with a more open Europa League campaign, that's when Celtic teams of the past have found belief, rhythm, and momentum. Kasper Schmeichel, in an interview this week, echoed that sentiment. He talked about how those Seville nights are being used as inspiration, not just to make the most of the current competition, but to reconnect with what this club stands for on the European stage. It's not just about results, it's about making memories, about playing with bravery, about giving fans something to hold on to. That's always been part of Celtic's European identity. It's why so many still speak with pride about knockout games against the likes of Barcelona, Juventus, and Inter Milan, even when they didn't end in silverware. That's the message being pushed ahead of tonight, that it's not just about qualification or points, but about creating something special again. And the players seem to be buying into that. You can see it in the body language, in the interviews, even in the way the team has started approaching these continental fixtures. Last week's draw away from home wasn't perfect, but it showed a bit of resilience, a bit of street smarts, the kind of maturity that's often been missing in past European performances. And now, with back-to-back home games, this is the chance to turn that into real momentum. But there's still fragility. No one's pretending this squad is the finished article. There are still questions over some summer signings who haven't really featured. Players like Simpson, Pugh, and a few others that, at this point, fans aren't even sure will make a meaningful contribution this season. And that's part of the frustration. Because Celtic supporters can see the potential in some of the younger or fringe players, but they also know that Europe doesn't always wait for you to get things perfect. That's why nights like tonight are so important. These are the games where you grow, where players either show they can step up or they don't. The midfield, especially, has been under the microscope. Too many matches this season have seen it look slow, predictable, and disconnected from the front line. That's why there's real hope Bernardo gets more time on the pitch. It's not just about wanting to see something different. It's about needing someone who can link play, carry the ball, and give McGregor the kind of support that allows him to dictate games again. Whether or not Bernardo starts, if he gets a decent run out and shows he can handle the tempo of this level, that could be a turning point for his role this season. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. There's a murmur running through Glasgow's East End this week, a story that set the Celtic support buzzing in pubs, on message boards, and in the papers. Angus Gunn, the Scotland international keeper, is said to be bound for Celtic Park. Whispers suggest the deal is all but sealed, and if true, it could prove one of the more decisive moves of the season. The talk around the terraces is that Gunn, long admired for his presence between the sticks and his calm command of the penalty area, has finally been lured north, and that his arrival will bolt shut the Hoops' goal. For a side with ambitions stretching beyond domestic dominance and into Europe, the need for a reliable last line of defense has grown urgent. Fans have grumbled that while Celtic's attack dazzles, questions at the back have lingered. Gunn's name has surfaced before, but this time the noise feels different, weightier, as though Parkhead insiders know more than they are willing to share in public. Some even claim the official unveiling could be imminent, with club photographers already briefed. The timing adds spice. With Rangers chasing hard and Champions League qualifiers looming, the idea of a Scotland #1 anchoring the Celtic defense has supporters dreaming of fortress-like security. It's exactly the sort of statement we've been waiting for, one fan told a local radio phone-in, insisting Gunn's gloves could prove as important as any striker's goals. Still, in the smoke and mirrors world of football transfers, nothing is ever certain until the scarf is held aloft. Rival clubs have been linked, agents have played their part, and there remains the risk of late twists. Yet in the streets around Celtic Park, the chatter is growing louder, the belief firmer. Angus Gunn is coming, and if he does, the green and white goal may soon be sealed tighter than ever. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.